Despite some negatives, it's universally accepted that the season finished with a flourish. Peterborough and Belle Vue put on 2 nights of spectacular speedway for the Eurosport's cameras. Great Britain snatched the World Championship away from Poland in the Speedway of Nations final the following weekend. What a week for British Speedway. The weather did its best to try and ruin the championship playoffs, but the Pirates and the Tigers pulled through and made history by staging the first playoff final in November. During the post-season analysis, I wondered what made the Premiership Play-Offs so spectacular. Everyone who watched it agrees the 2 matches were fantastic, but what are the ingredients for a perfect Speedway match? I came to the conclusion you need a combination of the following 6 things: atmosphere, a close scoreline, unpredictability, good racing, controversy or talking points, and a connection, the heroes and villains. Let me explain and show you how the Premiership Play-Offs ticked all of those boxes. Atmosphere. Anyone who's been to Cardiff can testify this is an easy one to explain. Having a rocking and tense atmosphere can make all the difference. It gives you that buzz and excitement that makes the sport so thrilling to watch. You walk out of the stadium a little more fulfilled when you've been to a cracking atmospheric match. Speedway also holds a key advantage with its demographic. You can have tense and fun rivalries with opposition clubs without the atmosphere feeling threatening as a football match can do. Many fans who have fond memories of London clubs like Wimbledon or the one-off World Finals have strong nostalgia for the atmosphere the events generated, not just the racing. Any fans who attended the 2021 Premiership Play-Offs will tell you the atmosphere was fantastic. Close scoreline. It's pretty obvious, but you need a close scoreline to retain the interest through the race card. I don't think I need to explain this one much more. Peterborough didn't wrap up the title until heat 14 of the second leg of the playoffs, although it looked bleak for Belle Vue after heat 10 of the second leg once the Panthers opened up a considerable lead. Controversy and talking points. Major sports events almost always have one incident that splits the fans' opinions, gets them talking and debating afterwards. The old what if discussions start. There weren't too many to discuss in the first leg. Hans Andersen's horrific crash was certainly a talking point, and the Panthers' late surge to close the deficit, especially in heat 13 with the 5-1 over Dan Bewley, but there wasn't really any controversy. The second leg provided one talking point in heat 9 when Craig Cook was invited back to the restart. This did split the fans, but ultimately Cook failed to score, so there was no significant impact on the outcome. Many people were perplexed by Mark Lemon's decision to have the 2 aces reserves in heat 6, leading to a maximum points for the Panthers. The other central talking point was Peterborough duo Michael Palmtoft and Scott Nicholls passing Stevie Worrell in the last lap of heat 10, as this was the critical turning point of the tie. Connection. It can be hard to explain the connection between the fans and the riders, but you can see trends where specific teams become popular for various reasons. Often, teams earmarked as the underdogs will become fan favourites if they are perceived to be overperforming. A great example of this is Leicester City Football Club when they won the Premiership in 2016. They had the nation behind them during their charge to the title because they were the underdogs. The Panthers team picked up the Dad's Army moniker early in the season and the club embraced it, almost using it to motivate them. Anyone who watched the Panthers during the season will tell you that every time you thought their goose was cooked, they would come back with a 5-1 out of nowhere. Such was the experience of this side. They never threw the towel in, and the fans loved them for it. Many neutrals would have been cheering on the old boys because of their demeanour and spirit. Let's not forget the purists out there who will always want to see the team finishing at the top of the traditional league table to win the title. Then of course there's Belle Vue. The Aces were looking to put their long wait for a top division trophy to bed, having not claimed one since 1993. The last time they won the league, they had the likes of Sean Moran, Bobby Ott, Joe Screen amongst their ranks. Rolling back the years with some of those names, aren't we? Many fans would have been desperate to see the historic Aces name on that trophy at the end of the season. The point is, fans had a great emotional connection with the clubs going into the final and the riders. It encourages personal investment in the action on the track, and it makes you feel angry or happy, sad or joyful, depending on how the match evolves and the outcome. Connection with the riders is really important. It's something that's often discussed amongst veterans of Speedway, because the connection with the riders isn't necessarily as strong as it used to be. Speedway riders are uber professionals now. Back in the 70s and 80s, you would often bump into riders in the pub afterwards or be able to have a chat with them after the meeting, whereas in the modern era, riders are packing up and jetting off to the next meeting abroad or somewhere else in the country. The likes of bomber Chris Harris is ever popular because of the way he rides and the entertainment value he brings to the party. It's always great when you have a rider playing the pantomime villain, but I couldn't really pick out a rider who played the role on this occasion. A good example is Nicky Pedersen, who's often thought of in this way. He plays into the role really well, adding to the 3-time world champion's box office credentials. Many fans love to hate him. He knows this and he channels it. Good racing. The majority of the time when we talk about entertainment value within Speedway, we're talking about the racing. However, good racing on its own isn't necessarily indicative of a good night of Speedway. Let me explain. Having riders come from the back and pass in is exciting, but it's not as absorbing when you see it coming. If the heat leaders continuously miss the start and are coming from the back, you're partly expecting the outcome, even though this is still thoroughly entertaining. What we really need is unpredictability. The key to making Speedway racing exciting isn't just good racing, it's unpredictability. I don't think any fan could have predicted how the playoffs would unfold. Every time you felt a pattern was starting to emerge, something different would happen to keep you guessing. The unpredictable nature of the racing was the key ingredient that kept everyone glued to the action until the tie was secured and the Panthers wrapped up the title. Now, with all that explained, let's look at the two matches and see how good it really was. During the analysis, I've split the track into 6 sections: Turn 1, Turn 2, the back straight, Turn 3, Turn 4 and the home straight. I'm only including passes made after the exit of Turn 2 on lap 1. Passes made before this are seen as first bend jostling. The rules imply this is first bend bunching because all 4 riders can be invited back to the restart, for instance on Turn 2. I'll also mention challenges. Challenges is where a rider gets alongside another rider and challenges to pass but doesn't make it, or makes a sterling effort but mistimes it or runs out of space. It is a little bit down to interpretation, so you'll have to work with me with that one. Heat 1. Belle Vue get away from the tapes and lead going into Turn 1. They stay ahead coming off of the second bend. Michael Palmtoft has a real good go around the outside of Richie Worrell going into Turn 3, and then he has another nibble on bend 2 of lap 4 but couldn't make an impression on the Flying Aces. A great start from the home team. No passes but 2 stern challenges from Palmtoft in that one. Heat 2. Bjorn Pedersen hits the front going into the first bend, and it looks like the Aces will pack the minor places, but Jordan Palin has other ideas. Jordan swoops around the outside of Brennan on the back straight, then cuts to the inside to pass Etheridge and his teammate to hit the front. Brennan keeps him honest, trying the inside on bend 4 of lap 2 and again on bend 1 of lap 4, but can't get past. The perfect reply from the Panthers, honours even after 2 races. 2 passes and 2 challenges in that one. Heat 3. Hans Ansen makes a good start, but Stevie Worrell covers the Dane and makes a break for it down the back straight. Scott Nicholls passes Charles Wright on the back straight, but then disaster strikes. Hans Andersen inexplicably lifts going into bend 1 and Nicholls cleans him up, sending the Dane straight into the floor. It was a complete accident and there was nothing Scotty could have done about it. I must say, I did feel sorry for both riders. Andersen looked like he'd been dropped out of a plane when he got up, and Nicholls now had to get his head back in the game for the rerun. This is the Premiership Play-Offs finals after all. This is where the experience played a key part for Peterborough. Nicholls comes back out in the rerun but fluffed the start. He gave Charles Wright a real fight, trying on the inside of bend 4 on lap 2 and again on bend 1 of lap 4, but couldn't pass him and conceded the 5-1. The third straight maximum heat of the night, the Aces back on top. 1 pass in the original staging, 2 challenges in the restart. In Heat 4, Belle Vue's biggest problem reared its head. Brady Kurtz, the tenacious Aussie, was ruled out injured, so the Aces had to operate at rider replacement. Rider replacement man Stevie Worrell was a bit eager at the start, but the referee, he was having none of that. The restart saw Jordan Palin make a great start, but Stevie Worrell shot round the outside on the back straight to hit the front. Chris Harris gets around the outside of Etheridge coming off bend 4 of the first lap to join Palin, but Etheridge doesn't give up easily. Sneaking up the inside of Palin on bend 2 of lap 4, only for Palin to repass him and keep third place. The first shared heat, and the Aces stay 4 points in front. 4 passes in that one, the best race so far. In Heat 5, Stevie Worrell makes a start and hits the front, with the Panthers packing the minor placings. They look like they've sorted themselves out, but not for long. Charles Wright forces the issue on the inside of Palm Toft on bend 1 of lap 2, then repeats the move on Lewis Kerr on bend 1 of lap 3. A fantastic ride from the Brit to put the Aces firmly in control. Suddenly the Panthers look like they're in trouble. 2 passes in that one and Belle Vue are 8 points up. In Heat 6 the action really dials up. Bewley and Harris contest a strong first corner, and the veteran Cornishman gets his nose in front, but Bewley won't be denied. He swoops round the outside on the back straight and completes the manoeuvre on the exit of turn 3. Richie Worrell steams under Chris Harris going into lap 2, and Bjorn Pedersen cuts up the inside and just gets ahead of Worrell but can't make it stick. Chris Harris doesn't hang about and steams under both riders going into bend 3. Worrell cuts back to the inside and passes Harris on bend 4, but Harris returns the compliment going into lap 3, moving Worrell out wide, allowing Bjorn Pedersen to nip up the inside. Peterborough holding firm. Rob Lyon now has some thinking to do with Hans Andersen's withdrawal confirmed. 6 passes in that race and 1 challenge. Easily the best race so far. Heat 7, Jordan Palin gates superbly and pins Worrell into the first turn. Worrell drifts off the line, allowing Scott Nicholls to join Palin at the front. The Panthers pair pull away and halve the deficit. Rob Lyon has capitalised on the weakened Aces pairing covering for Brady Kurtz. The first race to see no passing since Heat 1. Pedersen gets away from the start in Heat 8 with the Aces pair packing the minor places. Worrell creeps up the inside of Pedersen on the back straight of lap 2, and Pedersen holds strong and replicates the move on lap 3. Worrell won't be denied and the pair steam into lap 4 level pegging, but Worrell holds more speed and completes the pass into bend 1, pulling away on the back straight and securing the heat advantage for the Aces.
Don't panic! Don't panic! Hutch! Don't panic! You're alright!
Belle Vue are on the march again. 3 passes during a terrific duel between Richie Worrell and Bjarne Pedersen. Aces 6 points up and looking good. Heat 9 and the Aces trap superbly to get away on a clean 5-1. Pedersen swoops onto the inside into lap 2 and looks like he's made it, holding off Worrell briefly, but the Aces take back control of the race. The Aces look like they've got it until Chris Harris does standard Chris Harris insane heroics on the last lap, outfoxing Charles Wright but having just too much to do to reach Stevie Worrell. A superb effort, but it's another heat advantage for the hosts. I love the replay of this because you can see Stevie Worrell looking across the bend. He sees Harris coming, but there is absolutely nothing he can do about it. 3 passes and 1 challenge, another superb race. What did we really expect from the National Speedway Stadium? Heat 10 sees a well spread start with Richie Worrell emerging in front. Nicholls holds the inside and completes the pass coming off bend 4 of the first lap. Harris tries the outside going into lap 2, but Worrell covers the track and leaves the door open for Bewley to join him. The talented young Bewley sets about Scotty but doesn't catch him. The 7 times British champion looks like he's finally cracked the National Speedway Stadium. A share of the spoils, the Panthers are holding on. The Aces are looking sharp though. 2 passes and 1 challenge in that one. Heat 11 saw Dan Bewley replace Brady Kurtz, making a great start and looks like he's hit the front. But Palm Toft keeps the pace from mid-track and keeps his nose in front of Bewley and Brennan. Bewley is all over the wily Dane, mistiming his move on the back straight of lap 2 and hovering all over his back wheel. The Brit regains his momentum, switches to the dirt line and steams around the outside of Palm Toft on the back straight of lap 3, finally completing the move coming off of bend 4. Palm Toft doesn't give up the fight but can't match the Brit. Belle Vue extend the lead to 10 points and they are firmly in control, leaving the Panthers drifting out of contention.
We're doomed.
Don't be quiet, Fraser.
Or so we thought. 1 pass and 1 challenge. Heat 12 saw Bjarne Pedersen shoot to the first corner in pole position. Nicholls lets the bike run across the corner and around the outside of Stevie Worrell. Then Scott smartly switches to the inside and kills any momentum Worrell was building up. Pedersen picks up for a split second though, allowing Worrell up the inside and passing him into lap 2. Pedersen keeps on his tail and returns the favour going into lap 3. Worrell tries up the inside and the two briefly come together on bends 3 and 4. Pedersen keeps his cool and fends off a late outside surge from Stevie Worrell to secure a much needed maximum for the Panthers. 3 passes and 1 challenge, just 6 points in it now. Michael Palm Toft made a gate of his life in Heat 13 to clamp down the inside and prevent Bewley from making an impression. The move also allowed Bomber to send a sublime pass round the outside of Wright on the back straight, then sneaking around Bewley on bend 4 to join his teammate for lap 2. Bewley briefly lost ground, giving space for Charles Wright to blast round the outside, but he didn't get there in time. Harris rode the perfect line and there wasn't enough space for Wright to complete the manoeuvre, catching the fence over the start line. Bewley relaunched the charge to pass Harris, but Bomber held on to secure a vital 5-1. Suddenly, the Panthers were back in business. It's worth mentioning at this point that Palm Toft was riding through the pain barrier with a broken hand. A truly courageous effort from the underrated Palm Toft, and showing just how tough Speedway riders are. The track staff repaired the fence, the stadium was suddenly deathly quiet. 2 races to go. Could Belle Vue respond? 2 passes and 2 challenges in that one. In Heat 14, Scott Nicholls continued his scintillating form, hitting the front from the inside. Brennan held second in front of Pedersen. Charles Wright wasn't at the back for long though, taking the long route round the outside of Pedersen on bends 3 and 4. Pedersen wouldn't go down without a fight, holding the inside and keeping in front on bend 2, but Wright wouldn't be denied, steaming past the Dane on the back straight, and then passing his teammate to mount the challenge on Nicholls. Wright gave it his all, but overdone it on the last few bends. Scott Nicholls raced home for his 4th straight win and kept the Panthers within 2 points of the Aces with 1 heat remaining. 1 pass and 1 challenge, 2 points in it, 1 race to go. The final race of the first leg commenced and Nicholls again got to the corner first, but Bewley wasn't having any of that this time and powered round the outside and into the distance.
Bye.
Harris took the same route round Stevie Worrell to join Scott Nicholls on the exit of bend 4. Worrell kept the Panthers duo honest, trying the outside, inside, everything in between, but just could not find a way past the 2 veterans. 1 pass and 3 challenges in the last race at the National Speedway Stadium for 2021. Belle Vue had finally beaten the Panthers on their home patch, but it just felt like a missed opportunity to get one hand on that trophy. All was not lost yet though. The Aces had won both their previous visits to the East of England arena, and you would not bet against them doing it again. The fans saluted their heroes and perhaps knew they were saying goodbye to their fearless number 1, for now at least. 4 days later, everyone congregated in Alwarton for the second leg. The atmosphere was tense, riders ready. 15 more heats to decide the champions. Craig Cook stepped in for the injured Hans Andersen, and rider replacement was in place for both teams, covering Ulrich Ostergaard and Brady Kurz, who sadly couldn't get fit for the second leg. Heat 1 and the Panthers were caught napping at the start, allowing Worrell and Bewley to get away. Bewley was slightly off colour in the opener, slipping off the line to allow Craig Cook through on bend 1 of lap 3. This opened the door for Palm Toft to slip up the inside and take second place. Bewley carried on sending it into the dirt and switched to the inside, but couldn't retake a point scoring position. A potentially brilliant start for the visitors, but they couldn't capitalise and had to settle for a share of the spoils. 2 passes on 1 challenge in that one. Heat 2 and Bjarne Pedersen took command from the first bend. Brennan and Everidge packed in the middle order, with Palin trailing in at the back. The riders settled into position with no drama to report. A commanding ride from the Dane, another share of the points. This will do the visitors nicely. Heat 3, Craig Cook made a blinding start from the outside to get across the pack and hit the front. Stevie Worrell and Charles Wright were in pursuit. Scott Nicholls set after Charles Wright, trying the inside and then the outside. Nicholls pushed hard into the last lap and the pressure finally paid off. Wright lifting on bend 2, allowing Nicholls past. To be fair, Wright did really well just to stay on the bike after lifting the way he did. From the grandstand it looked like he was a goner for sure. A heat advantage for the home side, the gap closed on Aggregate. Honours even with just 1 pass in that one. Heat 4, Mark Lemon stuck Bewley in for the rider replacement ride. The Belle Vue pair made a superb start, hitting the front with gusto. Pedersen kept Etheridge honest, but the youngster did superbly, holding his nerve and resisting Pedersen in a manner of a seasoned veteran. The Aces take a much needed 5-1, putting them ahead on the night and on Aggregate. The Aces fans are fully behind their champions-elect. 2 challenges in that race. Heat 5 and all 4 go into the first bend together. Cook emerged just ahead, but Dan Bewley was in the zone now and wasn't in the mood for messing around, scorching past both Panthers and into the lead. Panthers packed the positions, and despite a sterling effort, Witchy Worrell couldn't make a meaningful impression. A shared heat, Belle Vue will take those all night long. 1 pass in that one. Heat 6 raised a few eyebrows when Mark Lemon elected to give Jai Everidge the nod in the rider replacement berth against the experienced duo of Chris Harris and Michael Palm Toft. Tom Brennan made a good start, but Michael Palm Toft moved him off the racing line and pulls away. Chris Harris slips around the outside of Everidge on the home straight, entering lap 2, then moves underneath Brennan into bend 3. The youngster lifts briefly, allowing the industrious Harris to get away. The showground welcomes a much needed 5-1 for the home side. The lead changes hands again on the night and on aggregate. The Panthers in front for the first time in the tie. 2 passes in that one. Heat 7 and Chris Harris made a start.
You serious?
I know, I double took as well. Jordan Palin made a great jump as well, joining Harris at the front and cleverly cutting the outside line, being pursued by Charles Wright. Harris tucked in behind the youngster, but he got caught out on bend 2 of lap 3, Charles Wright sneaking through with a clever cutback. Harris switches to the inside but just can't get back past. Palin though is cool as you like out front, taking the checkered flag ahead of Wright. A sublime ride from the impressive rising star, a mile apart from Dad's Army's Private Pike. 1 pass and 1 challenge in that race. Heat 8 and some movement from Pedersen on the inside takes the unfortunate Jai Everidge into the tapes. I'm not sure, but I was pretty suspicious about Pedersen starting so far away from the tapes. Was it deliberate? I guess we'll never know for sure. The youngster couldn't hide his frustration as the exclusion light came on. Tom Brennan comes in and replaces him and makes a fantastic start, getting across Pedersen and pulling away down the back straight. Brennan can't hold on though as Pedersen gets round the outside on the home straight, entering lap 3. Palmtoft took note and replicated the move going into the final lap. A big 5-1 for the home side, putting them firmly in control. Can Dad's Army go the distance?
That was awfully good.
Was it really? I'm so glad you liked it.
Really haven't.
2 passes in that one, the Panthers now 6 points up. Heat 9 saw the only incident where the referee came under scrutiny for including Craig Cook in the rerun, despite not being under power once the tapes went up. You had some fans pointing out that Craig Cook had retired, so therefore should have been excluded. Others argued that the ruling was an unsatisfactory start, therefore who was under power once the tapes went up was irrelevant, and Cook was under power once under starting orders. Ultimately, the referee did what he believed to be correct, and, fortunately, the incident didn't affect the match significantly. In the restart, the Aces got to the first turn in front, but Scott Nicholls held the inside, passing Steve Worrell with Cook not far behind. Worrell wasn't last for long though, passing Cook on the exit of bend 2 of the second lap. Cook applied pressure from the inside on bends 1 and 2 of lap 3, but Worrell held on. Meanwhile, Nicholls was applying significant pressure to Tom Brennan, getting up the inside on bends 1 and 2 of lap 4, but Brennan stayed strong and stormed home for 3 points, stopping the Panthers' momentum. Brennan was riding superbly, scoring points in every race he'd appeared in so far. The deficit reduced to 4 on aggregate. The Aces weren't out of this competition by any stretch, and the Panthers' momentum had suddenly stopped. 1 pass and 2 challenges in that race. Heat 10, and you just could not make the call before the riders got to tapes in this one. You had Charles Wright, Stevie Worrell, Scott Nicholls and Michael Palmtoft. All 4 of these were capable of winning it. The tension in the stand and in the pits, it was immense. The tapes rise and Stevie Worrell hits the front, Nicholls close behind and Palmtoft edging in front of Wright down the back straight. Wright turned under Palmtoft on bend 3, but Tofty read the move and cut back to retake 3rd place into lap 2. Nicholls and Palmtoft now set off in hot pursuit of Steve Worrell. The key moment came at the end of lap 3, when Stevie Worrell looks round and sees Nicholls throwing everything round the outside. Worrell moves slightly out to slow Nicholls, only for Palmtoft to capitalise on the sliver of extra room on the inside to hit the front. Worrell knows he's there now and moves to try and deal with Palmtoft, but he just ends up in no man's land and allows Scott Nicholls around the outside to join his teammate. A big 5-1 for the Panthers, and this is the moment that changed the tie.
The men moved like a smooth, well-oiled machine.
The home crowd knew they were close. The atmosphere in the grandstand was rocking. Palmtoft greeted with rapturous applause. The Peterborough management and the team had big smiles. The Aces were looking glum. The momentum was very much with the Panthers now. Time was running out for Belle Vue. 4 passes in that one, 8 points up, 5 races to go. Heat 11 and Belle Vue make a good start, emerging from turn 2 on a 4-2, but Brennan can't hold off Chris Harris, who steams through, entering bend 1 of lap 2. Dan Bewley, he's in another class now, but the Panthers duo hold firm in the minor places, knowing shared heats will be enough to seal the title. Only 1 pass in that one. Heat 12 and a great start off the outside saw Bjorn Pedersen hit the front coming off the second bend. Brennan and Stevie Worrell packed in behind with the guest Cook at the back. Pedersen a mile out in front. Another shared heat, but it's enough for the home team. Only 3 heats left for Belle Vue to save their title hopes. Heat 13 and the Panthers know a heat advantage wins the lead. Charles Wright didn't get the memo though and got to the first corner first. Aces are on a heat advantage briefly, until Harris cuts under Dan Bewley to join Palmtoft for a 3-3. On bend 3 of lap 2, Palmtoft sneaks under right to hit the front, then Harris flies around the outside to get Panthers on a 5-1. Dan Bewley though, he wasn't done yet, getting round the outside of Harris on the back straight of lap 4 and pipping Palmtoft to the line. A lifeline for the visitors. Only 2 5-1s for the aces would be enough to draw the tie on aggregate now. 5 passes in that one, only 2 races to go. The atmosphere at the showground was tense as you will ever find. In Heat 14, Belle Vue remarkably gate on a 5-1 and then they clear off down the back straight. Could they make one final push? Scott Nicholls though, he wasn't having that, and he rounds Charles Wright on the home straight entering lap 3. Wright then retires for the race, allowing Paling past and confirming what did feel like the inevitable. Brennan tries to replicate the heroics of Heat 9, but this time Nicholls was just too fast for him, steaming up the inside on the back straight at the final lap and easing through to take the win. The captain had the final say and settled the tie. Peterborough Panthers were the Premiership champions. Dad's army had achieved the improbable. The old boys had come out victorious. The team came out on the centre green for the final race of the season. 3 passes, although that does include Palin passing the retired Wright, so you could argue it was 2 passes in that one. Heat 15, Dan Bewley was off the inside, trapped and disappeared into the sunset. Meanwhile, the Panthers pairing of Harris and Pedersen sneak either side of Stevie Worrell for a shared heat. Worrell does creep past Harris on bend 2 of lap 2, but Harris cruises around the outside on the back straight to retake 3rd. Dan Bewley signs off from British Speedway, for now at least, with 15 points. The riders celebrate with the retiring Bjorn Pedersen, who also signs off a magnificent Speedway career with the British League Top Division title.
What an honour.
Yes, it is indeed. It's awfully good, sir.
A few interesting facts for those of you who do like statistics. Belle Vue only managed 10 points covering for Brady Kurtz's 8 programmed rides. The Aces captain would certainly have scored more than that over the 2 legs. You could definitely argue that if Brady Kurtz had been there, this whole tie would have turned out completely different. In stark contrast, Peterborough got all 3 of their 5-1s in the second leg from races using rider replacement to cover for Ulrich Ostergaard. The Panthers only dropped 1 point from the 4 races he would have occupied. That said, Lewis Kerr only managed 1 point in the first leg guesting for Ostergaard, so you could argue that it balanced out. Through both legs, only 1 rider was able to score in every race he started, and that was the Panthers captain Scott Nicholls, leading by example and contributing from all 11 of his appearances across the 2 meetings. Neither team got more than 10 points ahead through the 2 legs, and the aggregate lead only ever actually changed hands once. The score was levelled up 3 times, after Heat 2 in the first leg, after Heat 3 and after Heat 6 of the second leg, but Peterborough first got in front after Heat 7 and they never relinquished the lead once they got in front. Through the 2 legs there was only 5 races with no completed passes after the opening bends, and only 3 races going tapes to flag with no passes or credible challenges. There were 17 challenges in the first leg and 6 in the second leg. There was a total of 56 completed passes in the playoff finals, 31 in the first leg, 25 in the second leg. The passing was pretty spread out through the laps. There was 15 passes on lap 1, 17 on lap 2, 13 on lap 3 and 11 on the last lap. So one last interesting statistic, Chris Harris scored 17, paid 21 across the 2 meetings without winning a single race. I know, it seems crazy, but I had to check it myself. He was paid for 2 wins though. He brought Palmtoft home in Heat 13 of the first leg and again in Heat 6 of the second leg. Let's be fair though, it doesn't matter. Chris Harris is box office no matter where he is in a race. So that was the 2021 Premiership Play-Offs, a truly spectacular example of British Speedway done right. Make sure you sign up and get to watch a live Speedway this year on Discovery. It is definitely worth it. If you want to watch the full meetings, you can buy the recordings from Clean Cut Sports. It's just £18 for both meetings. There's also a cracking Champions DVD covering all 24 of Peterborough's matches in their quest to win the 2021 league title, and that's priced at $22.99 at the time of recording. I've got my copy and I must say it's awesome. It keeps me ticking over ready for the new season. If you have a look at Clean Cut Sports as well, they've got coverage from Leicester, Sheffield, Wolverhampton and all sorts of other tracks, and archived recordings from tracks further back. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I certainly enjoyed making it, and I hope this year we get plenty more awesome speedway like this on TV and live at the stadiums, and of course on the new streaming service, which is awesome. I'm already paid up and I can't wait. Hopefully I'll see you on the terraces when the tapes go up in 2022. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.
Something I want to say, and I want you to listen very carefully. Are you listening?
Yes, I'm here. Ow!